Going to pick some NFL futures from Caesars Sportsbook. Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champs, the favorites in the NFC, but the Chiefs remain favored to win it overall. Aaron Rodgers won MVP last season, but Patrick Mahomes is the favorite this season. Let's take a look at some more of the favorites to win individual awards. Aaron Donald looking for another Defensive Player of the Year award. He seems to win it, every other season or so. He is at 4-1 to win. Dak Prescott, the pretty heavy favorite to win Comeback Player of the Year. Trevor Lawrence, favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Micah Parsons on defense. And the Coach of the Year favorite, Kevin Stefanski, at 13-1. Brady Quinn is here to pick some winners. And before we get into that, Brady, share with us what your philosophy is when you're wagering on these props.
Well, I think with future bets, there's a lot of risk involved, right? There's injury risk, which you could say that on every single player, any type of bet you're making at this point in time during the year. So what the philosophy is, you go with chalk, okay? You go with the favorites to win these awards in most cases, because that's where your value is going to be the best. Once we start playing games, once we kick off, you're going to start seeing those numbers tumbling down as the favorites start to emerge. Again, without including injury as part of that. So that's why when you look through this list, now's the time of year when you're talking about futures bets, go ahead, take the favorites. You've got good value there. You've got good odds in your favor at this point in time. And then when we get into the season, that's when you start to look, you can start looking at hedging. You can start looking at taking maybe some of those long shots that have gotten off to a good start, and all of a sudden maybe it's come down a little bit in value, but you're still going to find good enough value to hedge your bet versus the favorite you picked for a futures bet.
Okay, a little foreshadowing to the picks this year from Brady Quinn. Expect a lot of chalk. Offensive Rookie of the Year is where we're going to start. The favorite is Trevor Lawrence, the #1 pick, expected to start Week 1 for the Jags.
This is an easy pick for me for a number of reasons. One, I think he's by far and away the best quarterback in this class, and obviously the quarterback position is going to have an advantage over every other rookie or offensive rookie in that case. Not so sure what to make of Zach Wilson with the New York Jets. He's struggled lately, at least according to reviews in training camp, whatever you want to make of that. But Trevor Lawrence not only has the overall ability, I think what Urban Meyer has done with this roster and this team around him, they've built it up where, dare I say, they might even contend in the AFC South in his first year in Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. So I suspect he will be everything as advertised and have a big year, much like he was bursting onto the scene as a true freshman for Clemson, helping to lead them to a national championship.
Kyler Murray was a #1 pick who went on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year just a couple of seasons ago. It's been done by several quarterbacks over the last decade plus. Let's move on to Defensive Rookie of the Year. We did have a couple cornerbacks go in the top 10. Seems a little bit more difficult for a cornerback to win Defensive Rookie of the Year unless you put up a lot of numbers as far as interceptions and forced fumbles. You're going to go with the favorite, though, and that's Micah Parsons, who's going to be a linebacker for the Cowboys.
Yeah, look, this is a statistical award. A lot of times, when you talk about cornerback play, for example, you talked about all the stats they can build up. If the quarterback's that good as a defensive rookie, I can tell you as a quarterback, we're not throwing at him. So he's not going to have a chance to have many stats because the ball's not going to be coming his way. So you might see early on in the season some of those cornerbacks, maybe they'll get their hands on some footballs, get a few interceptions. But the reality is this guy, Micah Parsons, he's going to be a 3-down linebacker. He's going to be able to impact the rush. He's going to be able to stop the run. And again, if he stays healthy, he should be a tackling machine this year for a much improved Dallas Cowboys defense. And their defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, I think he's going to look at him molding into that role of Bobby Wagner, a la with the Seattle Seahawks, back when Dan Quinn helped take them to a Super Bowl, during that little run of the Legion of Boom. I think that's more of the role he sees Micah Parsons playing in that defense.
All right, so Parsons 5-1 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. A favorite to win Comeback Player of the Year is also a Dallas Cowboy, Dak Prescott.
This is a layup. And again, the value is only going to come down the more he plays. Yes, there's some shoulder concerns right now. Maybe that's something to monitor over the course of the season. However, this offense is explosive. You don't have to look any further than last year before he got hurt, the type of numbers he's putting up. So he's going to have this statistical argument. Hell, he might even be in the race for the MVP. So for me, it's Dak Prescott, easy, considering who he plays for, considering what he's capable of in the offense that he plays in.
I have somebody in the newsroom, I can't remember who it was, that likes Jameis Winston at 20-1 to win Comeback Player.
He's got to win a quarterback battle first. Who even knows if it's going to be him or Taysom Hill?
I think it was old Johnny DiMuzio, but not sure. All favorites so far, Brady said. He likes the chalk because the value is only going to get worse as the season goes on. How about Defensive Player of the Year? Now, Aaron Donald is the favorite here. Yeah. He's won it back-to-back year. Actually, he's won it last year, and he's going for his third this upcoming season.
Okay, newsflash. You could give it to Aaron Donald every single year. This is the only case I'm not going to go chalk here, because I think what happens, a lot of times they fall victim to their own standards. You know, Aaron Donald can put up as an interior rusher sometimes damn near close to 20 sacks. That's hard to accomplish. So because of that, I'm going with a little bit better value here in Myles Garrett, someone who I think has put together so far a tremendous career. But this is that breakout year, in my opinion, where they rely on Myles Garrett. They did everything they could this offseason to bring in some help opposite of him. Takk McKinley, Jadeveon Clowney, just to name a few. So they're doing all they can to take some of the pressure off of him. But I think at the end of the day, especially when you look within the division, the offensive line struggles with the Bengals, who they play twice. The struggles of the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, which we'll see if they're improved at all. Those two teams alone, he should be able to at least accord a few sacks between those 4 games that they play him twice a year.
All right, Myles Garrett is the pick from Brady Quinn. Aaron Donald has already won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, going for 4. So we took a quick little break from the chalk. We're going to get right back to it, though, with MVP Patrick Mahomes. Look, this is the 3rd straight year he's been favored. He hasn't won it in those last 2 seasons after winning it a couple of years ago. Again,
same thing with Aaron Donald. He's a victim of the own standard that he set for himself. If this guy doesn't throw for 50 touchdown passes, we're like, ho-hum, just an average year for Patrick Mahomes, even though he continually puts his team in a position to go to a Super Bowl. So I'm willing to lay this bet right now with the value that you're going to get, because I do think they're going to come back more motivated than ever based on how last season ended for the Kansas City Chiefs. And look, for Aaron Donald, Patrick Mahomes, you can make a case that every year they should win it. Now, do they end up winning it? Most likely not. They usually ends up going to someone else who's had a fantastic year. But this young man is the best quarterback in the NFL. He should lead it, barring an injury or anything keeping him off the field for 17 regular season games.
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes is Brady's pick for MVP. Let's move on to Coach of the Year, and this one's where you go deep. I mean, you've been chalk pretty much the whole way, but for Coach of the Year, you're going with a little bit of a long shot.
I like what Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills have built so far. And I think you can make a case, too, with Josh Allen, how he's continually got better every single year. He's second in regards to MVP odds. But I think Sean McDermott's going to get a lot of credit for the way this team is going to play much better defense than we saw a year ago, but how they're going to compete. I think it's AFC Championship game, maybe even Super Bowl or bust for this group. They are that good. They're that talented. They've had a lot of continuity on their coaching staff. I think that plays a role, too, in their consistency and their continual progress and development. So for me, it's Sean McDermott. I don't think he gets enough credit for the job that he's done with this organization, with this team as a whole, since they drafted Josh Allen and continually got better year after year after year. And this is also going to be that next season that I think they put their stamp on the AFC East. And they say, no, we're here to stay. We're going to be here and successful and competing and beating the Patriots, much like the Patriots have reigned supreme for a while. This is the year that Sean McDermott puts a stamp on that AFC East.
All right, so it's McDermott at 18-1. The favorite is Kevin Stefanski at 13-1 to win Coach of the Year. All right, let's go numbers for the season, and let's start with the passing yards king. Deshaun Watson won it last season. Surprisingly, Patrick Mahomes has never led the NFL in passing yards for a season. He's come close many times.
Well, they also put themselves in a position many times where he might not be playing towards the end of this season, right? He might have to take a game off here or there. So if, for example, we have 17 regular season games, if they're in a position where they've already got that number 1 seed locked up, he's probably going to be sitting that last game. So he's only got 16 games to worry about. And as explosive as their offense is, they've had some blowouts from time to time where you got a backup coming and getting some garbage time. So that's going to play a little bit of a factor. For example, Deshaun Watson, they were a 4-win football team. You're playing from behind a ton. You're able to get a lot of those garbage time touchdowns and so forth. Where Patrick Mahomes is doing all his damage is in the first half, maybe into the third quarter, and then they're kind of on coast control or coasting mode. They're in the fourth quarter just trying to end the football game. But I still think he gives you the best chance to win as far as total passing yards this season, just with how explosive that offense is and the genius of Andy Reid along with Eric Bieniemy.
Mahomes at 4-1, the pick to lead the NFL in passing yards as we continue to pick some futures with Brady Quinn. Let's move to the rushing yard king, and that has belonged to King Derrick Henry the last couple of seasons, last year going over 2,000 yards.
Yeah, it's hard not to want to pick him again, I think, in part because that's more of the philosophy of what Mike Vrabel wants for the Tennessee Titans. They want to run the football often and then utilize Ryan Tannehill off the play action pass. A lot of people are thinking, all right, the addition of Julio Jones, what does that mean to go along with A.J. Brown? You think they'd open some things up more? I don't think so. I actually only think that lessens the box count that Derrick Henry has to see because they threaten you now with 2 wide receivers who are very capable. So I think they're going to continue to keep running this guy into the ground, or at least the way Mike Vrabel wants to see him doing it. And there's no reason that we should expect anyone but this guy to be leading the league in rushing when it's all said and done. He's big, he's physical, he's durable, and they've paid him a lot of money too, so they better get their money's worth from Derrick Henry.
All right, one more, and it's the receiving yards leader for the upcoming season. Last year it was Stephon Diggs. He again is the favorite.
Yeah, and he's a favorite in my opinion in this one only because of what we saw him do last year. I think the Bills are going to build off of that. And there's plenty of other players I think you could throw into the conversation. Devontae Adams is one. However, I think with the additions for the draft and then also Devin Funchess coming back, and depending on what this roster looks like for the Packers, they might try to spread that football around a little bit more. You know, you're looking at Michael Thomas, a guy who has been incredibly impactful in the past. You know, he's coming back from surgery. He's dealing with a new quarterback. He seems disgruntled with the organization. We don't know where he could potentially end up or how much he'll even be able to play. So, to me, Stephon Diggs is your safest bet. Continuity is the biggest thing, too, for me, is you're building off what they did last year. I think sky's the limit for him and Josh Allen.
Okay, Brady Quinn picking some futures from Caesars Sportsbook. Brady, help us recap the picks here. We're going to pull up the screen here of Brady's picks. There it is.
There you go, chalk. That's right. And look, the reality is here, you've got value, all right? You're in the plus, you know, for example, you bet $100. In some cases, you're getting back $400 on your return. That's the safe play to make right now. We don't need to stress or get risky until we get into the season and we see how things are shaking out.
7 of 9 favorites for Brady Quinn in our picks today. One long shot, so to speak, was Coach of the Year, Sean McDermott, who you can find at 18-1 to win Coach of the Year. He also picked Myles Garrett, who is not the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's plus 650. Aaron Donald is the favorite as he goes for his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.